Perek 2, Mishnah 1. So Rebbe says, Ezohi derech yeshara sheyabor lo ha'odom. Ezohi, which is it, the derech yeshara sheyabor lo ha'odom? So there's a few things. So this is Rebbe giving you guidance on how to set up your life. And he doesn't say which is the most stringent path a person could choose, right? Which is the most rigorous path. He doesn't even say which is the holiest path. He says, what's the straight path? This chapter we're going to go through is practical implementation, how to physically live in this world. Okay. So Rebbe says, what I'm looking for from you is for you to be straight. Right? Even just think about the English language. Don't be twisted. Right? Don't be crooked. Don't look for the angles. Right? People, he says, it's one of my Rebbeim says, what he's looking for is people who are ehrlich. Right? You want people to be just honest and straightforward and open and truthful and simple. Rebbe says, what do we want from you? Why are we doing all these mitzvahs? Right? We're not doing these mitzvahs so that we can see who's more stringent than the other guy. The question is, all of these tools, they're here to refine us. They're here to get us so that we're straightforward, yashar people. So he says, Ezohu derech yeshar sheyabor lo ha'odom. So it's interesting, this word is yabor. Right? You would think that the word would be bechira, right? It would be a bechira-based word, right? That you have free will to choose. So this is a word that means select. It says one of the hardest things for people to face is that in many cases your free will is limited to selection of paths and options that are presented to you. There are people who choose to be something that's completely impossible for who they are. And they become paralyzed and they can't move. Right? I would not, to discuss with my wife, I'm standing here now with this, cancer diagnosis, and, it's not like I have free will. I can't just choose for it to be gone. I can't choose, it's like they've now handed me a set of options and said, choose one of these, right? I don't have the eyesight to be a pilot, right? I was born either too early or too late to be an astronaut. I wasn't born with, right? If you're born a 14th century girl in Afghanistan, the options that are available to you in life are different than if you're born a 20th century or 21st century American man, right? You have to recognize what God has done is God presents to you throughout your life opportunities. Your job is to select from them, right? It's not necessarily bechira. You don't have free will to be anything. But you do have the obligation to choose, right? You can't just sit there and say, I was born a poor kid, that's why I'm, my parents did this to me. The economy did this to me. Cancer did this to me, right? People look for excuses and they let life run them. He says the operative thing here is yabor, is you have to choose. It's up to you. Your options are not limitless. Right? You can't just choose to, you can't choose to float away, in violation of gravity. You're constrained by the way the world physically works. Right? You're constrained by the opportunities that are presented to you. So he says, Ezohu derech yeshara sheyabor lo ha'odom, that you have the opportunity to choose, to select your path in life. So he says, select a path that's straight. In all cases, when you ask yourself, should I do this, should I not do this? Ask yourself, is it straight? Is it straightforward? Is it honest? Is it open? Is it clear? Is it right? Or is it, I'm fighting some angle where I can justify doing what I've done? If you look at it from over here, that's the whole story of Bilam. Bilam says, maybe if I look at it from over here, I can find a way to get it done. Maybe if I go over there and look at it from that angle. We're a very straightforward people. So Rebbe says, Ezohu derech yeshara. What's the straight path? And the next thing is that it's a derech. It's a path. It's not a thing. It's not a single choice. What's important about it being a path is it's continual. If you make one mistake, right, you're not done. It's it's where are you going, right? You talk to your kids and your kid thinks I blew it and now I'm done. You're not done, right? Turn left a little bit, turn right a little bit, readjust yourself, and get back on the path. Right? It's thousands and thousands and thousands of choices between here and the end of your life. Right? We're not so concerned about a single mistake or a single opportunity or a single choice. Right? It's not enough to say I was good one day and now I'm whatever. It says what he's interested in is what's the path that you're selecting for yourself through life. And it's sheyabor lo ha'odom, So this word Adam, we mentioned yesterday, there's a number of different words that it uses for mankind, for human beings. Right? Yesterday we saw briot, man as a creation. Here it's man as potential. Right? This is you as the opportunity to be more. Right? Which is the path that a person should choose for himself. And you're choosing it for yourself. You're not choosing a path for anyone else. You're not choosing a path for your kids. You're not choosing a path for your wife. You're not choosing a path for the rest of your friends. You're choosing a path through life for yourself. It's got to be something that works for you. We'll see that in the next line. And it's Adam. You're choosing it for that aspect of you, which is your pure potential. So this is it. He says, here you are. You're constrained in life, right? But you're not stuck. Right? You choose who you are. You can't say, I'm poor because, I'm evil because, I'm mean because, I'm bitter because. You choose. Choose. So then he says, here's a rule of thumb for determining whether or not the path you're choosing, the general set of actions you're choosing, are good. It says, Kol shehi teferet lo'aseha v'teferet lo min ha'adam. It's got to be something that is beautiful and splendorous and wonderful. A teferet, right? To the person who does it, lo'oseh, v'teferet lo min ha'adam. And it brings you glory and splendor and approval and beauty from other people, right? From the good part, from the Adam, from the good part of people. That when you say, is this something that's worth doing? So one question you have to ask yourself is, what will other people think if they know I'm doing it? Right? It's a good rule of thumb. Right? If you're doing something that you feel you need to hide, because if other people knew that that's how you were behaving, those people would be abashed, ashamed, humiliated, angry, frustrated. Pick a choice. When you think of something, is this a proper behavior? I always tell this to my kids. Is this something you want your grandma to know that you did? Right? Is this something you want other people to know that this is how you are or what you are? That the path through life you choose, it should be something that other people looking at it can understand and see the beauty in. That the Adam in people, right? Not the worst part of people, but the good part of people see that what you're doing is beautiful. But it also has to be teferet loseh. It has to be beautiful to you, right? If you can't take it, see, if you're the kind of person. So I remember when I first was becoming frum and explaining to my father the concept of kola, and he said, you're missing it, right? He said it can't be the only path, because the path you're describing would kill, your brother. Kill some people. They couldn't do that's right. My brother's the biggest. He's a Baal Chesed and a Baal Tzedakah, and his whole life is about helping other people. But don't stick him in a room and tell him to stare at a page for 16 hours a day, right? If you're the kind of guy that you're not so good at having people come to your house for Shabbos, but you can work your way through a sugya and give people advice on it, right? You have to ask that there's more than one approach to life, right? You can't live your life because this is what other people expect you to be. This is what my parents expect me to be. This is what my kids will expect me to be. This is what my wife expects me to be. This is what, right? So it's this balance between, you have to find things in life, a path through life that gives you pleasure and joy and that you see as beautiful. You want to be an artist? Be an artist. You want to be a teacher? Be a teacher. You want to be, I love the fact that, we live in a subculture where the most respected guy in the community is essentially a high school principal, right? And the best and brightest want to teach children. Right? If that's what you love, that's what you do. Right? You shouldn't say, society isn't going to expect me to be, a giant or a macher or whatever. Do what you love. Right? So he says, how do you know a straight path? A straight path is something that's beautiful to other people and beautiful to yourself. And it gives you kind of a rule of thumb to gauge whether what you're doing is worth doing. Okay, so the second parak, first Mishnah. Right, so he continues this way. So you have to be careful with a minor mitzvah as you would with a major mitzvah. Right? Mitzvah kala kiva chamura. So you can ask the question, is there really such a thing as a major mitzvah or minor mitzvah? Right? Who knows? Who's to say which is which? But let's grant for the moment the fact that the Mishnah mentions that there's such a thing as major and minor, that there is. There's some things that are big, there's some things that are little. It says, She'ein ata yodea matan scharin shel mitzvot, because you don't know, right, the gift of schar of the mitzvah. So we talked about in the first parak the idea when Antigonus says, Alti kavadim hashanshim eter of almanas the couple pros. Don't be like servants who serve their master for the sake of a pros. Right? You can't serve for a pros. And I said, we'll see in future missions, including this one, that you're allowed to serve for a schar. And he even says, when you're trying to decide about doing a mitzvah, he says, you don't even know what the gift of the schar is. What is this schar? Right? The schar, so first of all, the schar is a matan, it's a gift. So we call it schar because it's just payment. That just payment is a relationship with your Creator. Right? Our idea is, what's the schar, the just payment, the wage of doing a mitzvah? You do a mitzvah. You can say to Hashem, I will do a mitzvah on the condition that you love me. I'll do a mitzvah on the condition that you're connected to me. And He'll do that. He promises. You will see in later Mishnah. Hashem promises you that you can count on Him, that you can trust Him to pay you. Right? Your schar. The schar is that if I say, God, I will do your mitzvot so you love me, He'll love you. So it's a gift. It's a gift that God, right, the Creator of the universe, what does He care about me? Right? It's an absolute gift. The Creator of the universe says, listen, you act in a way that draws me close to you, and I will be drawn close to you. You act in a way that makes me more real in the world, and I will be more real in the world. I will pay you that schar. It's a gift. What you don't know is where the schar comes from. Right? In terms of your own marriage, you think, right, I'm doing the big stuff. I'm going every single day and working a job, and I'm bringing home money, and I'm taking out the trash, right? And you don't realize that the little stuff is just as important to your wife, right? To smile at her, which seems so light, is so huge. To speak politely, which is so easy to do, is so huge. To remember, to take her, right? It says, you think I'm doing the huge thing, right? I'm spending 8 hours a day, and that's my service, right? Why do I have to also come home and say hello? Right? Why do I also have to talk? Right? What are you talking about? It says, you have to be careful with little mitzvot as with big mitzvot, because you don't understand which are the things that are really your challenges. Which are the things that God is looking at you to build that relationship with Him. It's not only the big stuff. Right? So I'm a good guy. I don't murder. I don't steal. I don't... Right? Sometimes the stuff that's really your challenge, the place where you build your connection to your Creator, is on the little stuff. So he says you have to be careful. He says, Have machshir chesed mitzvah keneged schara. You need to weigh, think about, and consider the chesed mitzvah, the cost of a mitzvah, against its reward, and the reward of an aveira against its mitzvah. So the Ramchal speaks very closely about this issue. It says, and people are sometimes surprised to hear it, mitzvahs have prices. Right? There's a benefit to doing an aveira. Right? If I hit you in the head and take your wallet, I get your money. That's a good thing. Right? If I give money to tzedakah, I don't have the money to buy good single malt scotch or good bottles of bourbon. There's a definite cost to doing mitzvot. Right? There's a burden to them. There's a loss. Every time you do a mitzvah, there's a loss. And every time you do an aveira, there's a benefit. Right? The Ramchal says that that's what makes this world work. He says we have this, there's a world of earning and a world of enjoying. The world of earning has to be that you're confronted by choices where there's good and evil. It draws God closer or pushes Him away. And there's a benefit to doing good and a cost to doing good, and a benefit to doing evil and a cost to doing evil. And you have to choose. Who are you? Select from the path that's offered to you. Are you the kind of guy who's more interested in the money or his soul? Right? The whiskey or your soul. So he says you have to weigh. If you stop and you consider the cost of doing that mitzvah, which is short-term physical, this worldly, against its benefit, and the benefit of the mitzvah, which is otherworldly in connection to your Creator versus, right, the cost of the few dollars, he says then, you'll get there. Then he says, Histakel b'shlosh devarim. So now this is a conversation between the first Mishnah of this parak and the next parak. He says, Histakel b'shlosh devarim. Think about 3 things. Ve'einata boli de'avera, and you will not come into the hands of sin. Sin has hands. It will grab you and hold on to you. It is not passive. Right? We like to think that I can take it or leave it. I can do this, bad, mean, malicious thing, and then I'm done with it and walk away. That you forget that it grabs you. It'll grab you by the shirt and hang on to you. That once you get into whatever it is that's your taiva, whatever it is that's that destructive drive, once you've done it a little bit, it's easier to do it more and more and more until you find your whole life is tied up and wrapped up, right? It has hands, and it will hold you and grab you and pull you. Right? It's not a passive thing. It will hang on to you. So think about these three things and you won't come. Right? Da mala mala mimach. You have to know who's above you. So here's the three things. Ayin roa, be'ozen shoma'at, be'kol maisecha, be'sefer nichtavim. An eye that sees. There's nothing that's missed. Right? You know, in England now they have cameras on every street. Right? An ayin roa means that the creator of the universe, who's creating you moment by moment, sees everything you do. You're not hiding anything. Nothing gets beyond his sight. Don't think, I can sneak this one in and no one's looking. He's looking. An ear that hears, right, we'll see in the 48 ways in the 6th parak, it says, listen with your ears. And you ask the question, what else would you listen with? Right? Most people don't listen with their ears. Most people listen with their attitude. They listen with their bias. They listen with their opinion. They listen with their position. Right? Most people don't listen with their ears. Listening with your ears means to stop and think about what's this person actually trying to say. Right? I'm listening to you. I'm hearing what you. I hear you. Right? It's even it's a colloquial idiomatic expression. I hear you. Right? Which means I understand you. So there's an ayin roa, an eye that records like a video camera, but there's an ear that hears. It hears you. It knows what you're thinking. It knows what the argument is that went on in your head before you chose what to do. It knows where you're just weak. It knows where you're malicious. The ear hears. It understands you. Right? This is how God's looking at you from above. He knows what you're doing, and He understands who you are. And kol maisecha b'sefer ketavim, nichtavim. Everything is written down. Nothing gets away. It's a permanent record forever. So he says, if you realize that the King of the universe, who loves you and will pay you schar and wants a relationship with you, right? Who wants you just to be straight. He's not giving a very high burden here. He says, be a straightforward guy. How do you stay out of the grips of sin? Know that He knows everything and He understands you. And He's taking notes. So that's the first Mishnah of the 2nd parak.